What's going on YouTube? Today I'm really excited to show you the brand new Tactix 7, which is the successor to the Tactix Delta. And this is my favorite watch of all time, but it's time to replace it with this beast. Tactix 7 is what it's all about now, and I'm really happy that Garmin made some wise decisions when it comes to the Tactix 7 line. And I'll talk to you about those in a little bit as we do this unboxing, so let's get into it. If you're interested in picking up the Tactix 7 or any of the other Garmin lines, I'll leave a link down in my description below. But let's go ahead and unbox the Tactix 7 and check it out together. The Tactix 7 comes in 3 different variants, and I'm happy that Garmin went this route. In my Fenix 7X review, I mentioned that I'm really not too excited about the solar capabilities of that watch, just because I'm in an area where I don't really get all that much sun. And just look how beautiful this looks. And I'll just show it to you next to the Tactix Delta there. Just a couple minor improvements, but there's a lot under the hood, if you will. And I'm really happy that with the Tactix 7, Garmin lets you choose whether or not you want that solar capability. Because on this Fenix 7X, when I did my review, I'm not too excited about solar. That's not something that I really need. So with the Tactix 7, you have the standard edition, which does not include solar, and this will run you $1,099. If you want to add that solar edition, that's going to cost you another $200, so that's going to be $1,299. And then, of course, with old Tactix series, you do have that Pro Ballistics, and that's going to run you all the way up to $1,599. So this can get pretty expensive, guys, if you wanted to, but I think at $10.99, if you were looking at the Fenix 7X and you didn't really need solar, and you kind of agree with me with some of those points that I mentioned when it comes to the 7X, I'll leave my review down in the link down below. But I'm happy because I don't need to choose solar. I don't really need that solar ring. It's not something that I was super impressed with. Now on the wrist, the Tactix 7 feels a lot lighter than the Tactix Delta does. And again, this is a fiber reinforced polymer casing. And you have a titanium bezel and a titanium back, so it definitely feels a lot lighter than the Delta. But let me just kind of show you guys the Delta and the Tactix 7 side by side here. And I'm gonna put in my information in just a little bit to kind of check it out and give you some of the key specs when it comes to the features. But you do get that same 3 buttons on one side and then the same 2 buttons on the other. But of course, the Tactix 7 now includes touchscreen. And you can see that it still keeps the new 7X architecture with the screws on the bottom there. Overall, I think they did a nice job with the Tactix 7. And you have a little flashlight, dual flashlight. You have a white and a green flashlight there. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit as well. And you also have the new heart rate sensors on the back. So that's the old style, and that's the new style right here. Multi-band GNSS as well. So a little bit of an upgrade from the Tactix Delta. So far, I'm liking the way that this looks, and you know I love watch bands, guys. 26mm bands are where it's at. 26mm bands are going to change up the style. This is what the Tactix 7 looks like on the wrist. Now again, I switched out that watch band, and I'll leave a link down below for some reviews on some watch bands and whatnot, and even some third-party ones that you can choose to purchase. But I think it looks really nice. I think it looks really nice on my wrist as well. I'm definitely liking the way that this Tactix 7 looks. I think it looks really cool. Now again, it's the same size as the 6X and the 7X and the Delta, but I think it sits really nicely on my wrist as well. Not super high. It's not really that high. It's a nice profile this year, and I think this just looks really cool. Now one thing I do want to see, I do want to kind of check out if we have any new watch faces. I really like watch faces, so I just want to go through them. This is a new watch face that looks really nice. There's another new one. That one we've seen on the 7X. And a lot of them we have seen on the 7X, but let's just rotate through them. Let me know if you see one that looks really cool. I kind of like that one, as well as this one here. And we have some old Tactix favorites. The buttons just are a lot easier to press. They're just a little bit easier to press than the old style buttons, which kind of felt heavy, if you will. It's a heavy button, it was a heavy press. And I kind of like that heavy press. These are just a lot easier to cycle through. But again, using your fingers probably the way that most people are going to use this watch. That's the main selling point of this year's models. And I just wanted to mention that button press just to kind of let you guys know. So if you like that heavy press, that's not here on the Tactix 7. If we take a look at the buttons here, you can see that the power button has a little protection over it. So it's not going to be easily pressed when you're out and about or you're doing an activity. That wasn't present on last year's models. There again is the flashlight right over there, and your 3 buttons on the side, pretty much keeping the same architecture that they have. And I like it once again, guys. I really like it. I think they did a nice job when it comes to the Tactix 7 here. And the same connector. So if you have an extra power cable from your previous Phoenix lines, you can still use that right there. As the Tactix 7 is pairing up, you do get the same 1.4 inch screen. So it's the same size as the Tactix Delta, and it's 51mm, so it's the same size as well. And what I like about it, again, if you take a look at my video on the 7X, we don't have that solar ring that I think kind of takes away from a lot of watch faces. And again, if you're not really using solar, it kind of defeats the purpose. So I think at $100 extra for the Tactix 7, I think this is a much better value in my opinion. Not only is it the Tactix line, so you get this really nice matte black finish, but it's also just eliminating something you might not need, or maybe you also don't like that ring. It's really up to you guys. Plus you get some pretty cool new watch faces. But again, the Connect IQ store is gonna point you in the direction to get all of your favorite watch faces, so no problems with that at all. I am gonna have a full review of the Tactix 7, but you do get 24-hour heart rate monitoring. You also get sleep tracking, and you also get that blood oxygen saturation monitoring. You get a whole bunch of awesome goodness inside of this Tactix 7. But the main specs you want to know as well is you do get maps, you get notifications, you can put your favorite music on here with 32 gigabytes of storage. You can leave your phone at home and go do your tactical stuff and come back as you listen to some jams. Most people who buy this are not in the military, I'd assume. You're just like normal people that like the look of the Tactix line a little bit better. But if you are in the military, this does work with night vision goggles. You have Jump Master as well, so if you're jumping out of planes, you can monitor that as well, guys. That's not something that I actually know about, but Jump Master is in this watch. You can also swim with the Tactix 7, and you also get 10 ATM for that water resistance. So again, perfect for just about every sport, every activity. Even if you're out in the jungle or even if you're out in country, you can use this watch and do everything that you need it to do and track everything. And there's also a stealth mode. So when you need to turn off all the satellites and you want to turn off all wireless capabilities, guys, you do have stealth mode available. So that's very easy to just kind of turn on what I'm going to call that airplane mode, because it is kind of like airplane mode, but stealth mode is going to turn off all of those wireless radios and whatnot. It's not going to store your GPS information. Just take a look at that one more time. Why would you buy the Tactix 7 over, say, the Delta there? Now, it is for the touchscreen. Touchscreen really comes in handy. That's 100% for sure. So you can just use your finger when you need to, but you can also use the buttons, which I'm sure a lot of you have become really used to if you've had Tactix lines before. But it's also just a new addition, a new model, and if you haven't bought anything yet, and you didn't buy the Delta or the Phoenix 6X, and you're kind of looking for a new device, I really think the Tactix 7 is the way to go. Let's take a look at the flashlight really quickly, which you can easily turn on just by double tapping on the light button. So you can see there we get a nice little flashlight. You can increase or decrease the brightness, and you can also change the color. That's really not coming off too well on camera, I don't think, but that's the green LED. Or of course you can have the white one. That could be go, that could be stop, whatever it is. And when you are running, this is going to match your cadence. And it's also a nice safety feature if you're running or biking at night. It's always good to have a light, so this is just going to give more attention to yourself. So that's something I really like, especially when you're just trying to find your keys late at night to open your door. Flashlight comes in really handy. And you can turn on or off the touchscreen if you don't think that's something you want to use. And also when you're within workout activities, you can choose to have it enabled or disabled. Fully customizable when it comes to the touchscreen and how you want it to function on this watch. When it comes to battery life, it all depends on what you do with it, but on average, they say you can get about 28 days. Now, that'll increase or decrease depending on how much you actually use the watch when it comes to GPS tracking. And if you do get the solar, so if you live on the West Coast or somewhere where there's a lot of sun, you can get up to a full year of battery, meaning you probably never have to charge it up. But if you live in New York City or a major metropolitan area like I do, with tall skyscrapers block out the sun, solar is not something that I'm super interested in. Now again, your battery is going to increase or decrease based on what you do with your watch. So if you play a lot of music from it, or you track a lot, or you do this or you do that, you might only get about a week. Again, that just means you're a beast and you're doing a lot of activity tracking. That's really it, guys, when it comes to this unboxing. I'm going to have a full review coming up. I'm going to put this through its paces. So if you have any questions about it, let me know down in the comments below. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you in another video.